Hey guys, it's Dave. On this gorgeous Iowa City afternoon, we are going to talk about three of my favorite Hoya. They are very closely related. They've all been on the channel before, and I think you can make an argument that any one of these three is indispensable in a collection, though I have two clear favorites. Stick with me. I am of the mind you can have two clear favorites if they're for two clearly different reasons. That is how I have cheated all my life. That's what got me where I am today. Woo! All right, first up is an OG to the channel. This is the species Hoya obscura. Really beautiful plant. I love the leaves, but I will tell you, now this is a seed grown, open pollinated, so we don't know who pollinated this plant. So it's a little sui generis in that respect. It doesn't sun stress ever under any amount of light. So what I do is keep this one under much lower light than you would imagine. And it grows, it'll get darker in the spring because it'll be to my right here, which is a north window with a 20-watt Soltech bulb pretty far away from it, shining on part of the plant. And look what she's capable of. So she started blooming about, I don't know when I first posted pictures to Patreon, but I think probably 2 weeks. Oh my God, I'm so short. But about 2 weeks ago, I think, once this plant starts blooming for the season, well, I guess last year was my first season of it blooming. It bloomed from now until very late fall. And I don't mean a flower here and there. I mean all over this whole plant. Very large umbels. So you get this huge umbrella of flowers. They're very long lasting. They smell great. And they're kind of a very, very pale yellow. Let's see if there's one open here. It's what you would expect from a lacanosa looking flower. So there you go. I keep this plant far moister than a lot of people who grow Hoya would. If you grow lacanosa, you're probably used to doing a little bit of that yourself. If you must do the taco test, you're going to be sad with this plant because the leaves are always pliable. So you're going to have to figure out something different, like don't use the taco test. That would be my suggestion. But anyway, a really lovely plant, requires no special care. This is an easygoing plant that I have always had, in air quotes, too large a pot. And that is partly because y'all know what an airy substrate I use with my Hoya. It works very well for me, might not for you, but I want to keep that substrate moist. I like to grow in terracotta, basalt, and marble granite. I dropped this and broke the basalt pot at the end of last year that it was in, and I didn't have another one to put it in, so it is in terracotta right now. I might rather have it in that marble granite just because it doesn't leach quite as much moisture out. This is a thirsty plant, and it's a large plant. Let me back up here and not drop it. So I'm watering this fairly often. Right now it's twice a week. I'll get this moved out to the porch here very, very soon in a video that is coming up. And I don't expect that watering schedule to change much. It can get very warm out here, but during the summer the air conditioning is going to be on. And I can keep this porch cool, just can't keep it warm in the winter. Temperature guide might not apply to many people, but my house gets very cold in the winter where I keep this plant. Low 50s is fine. They've all done well with it. You will note online that they don't recommend these plants go below 60. No problem at all, as you can see. Didn't bat an eye, hasn't batted an eye. It's done really, really well. So easy grower, beautiful plant. I've never grown an obscura that wasn't seed grown, open pollinated, so I can't speak to all of them. I can just tell you how much I love mine. Next up is our beloved Hoya Sunrise. This was hybridized by Michael Miyashiro in 1992 with Hoya lacanosa subspecies Pallidiflora and obscura. I'm going to throw some kind of PhD botany terms at you that means that the Lacanosa was the mom plant and the obscura was the dad plant. All right, I'll go back to elementary school now. But this is one of the more famous Hoya, I suppose, in my collection because of the beautiful sun stressing and the very vivid venation when it does. So that really sets it apart from Rebecca. If you like that electric sun stressing look, this is your plant. If you've been on the channel a minute, you might have seen this last year. It was one of the probably first videos I did featuring just a single plant. I wondered, does anybody even still care about it? Remember when this was, oh, so hot. So hot, expensive. No one could get it. Well, I never see anybody talk about their Sunrise anymore. Maybe they do. I don't follow that many plant channels. But the comments and the views on that video were very, very high. Especially, I mean, it was a brand new channel. So people still did care. I did a follow-up video where I had dry rotted the plant. And I know there is a true botanical definition of there's no such thing as dry rot. It's this whole other thing. I don't care. The shorthand is dry rot. It was in a very small pot. I didn't keep up on watering, and that's what happened. So I had to start the whole plant over. Where did I put it? In the tent. And it got roots, developed roots very, very quickly in perlite and water since it was so dehydrated. That's what I decided to do instead of putting it in substrate, which is my preference. Gave a bunch away, made some beautiful plants and sold those. So this is what I have. It is obviously making a terrific comeback. This plant looks absolutely fantastic, and I love it so much. Don't think I mentioned that the inspiration of this video wasn't just that there are three of my favorite plants. There are three Hoya that I see all the time. They're in my living room, straight in front of me. So I get to see these growing and looking beautiful right there in the living room. Ambient conditions now year-round. Beautiful grower. By the way, forgot to mention, the Sunrise has predominantly the same color flower as Obscura. Maybe some people can get theirs to sun stress or not. I don't know. I haven't. So it's been a pretty straightforward kind of a creamish yellow flower. Now when people post a picture of a Sunrise or Obscura being an unknown leaf online looking for identification, that can be very challenging to tell the difference. And people make blind guesses. And you really, from a leaf, you can't tell. The flower, yes, the Obscura flower is much, much larger, that cluster of flowers. So it takes that long to kind of figure out what it is. Rebecca's leaves are significantly smaller, as are the flower umbels, but they are an adorable pink. So they're really flushed. It's a small little flower, does not last as long as Sunrise or Obscura. And Obscura really does last a long time, but it makes up for it with doing it frequently and smelling lightly sweet, as do the other two. So nothing like an orchid cherry baby that I have in the living room right now that is making a largish living room smell good, the entryway next to that, and the dining room. So that would be on the far side of powerfully scented. This one, it is noticeable when it's got a lot of flowers on it, but it won't overpower a room by any means. Let's get to the sad story part of Rebecca. And this is potentially, well, let's not play the blame game. This is what happened. It was at one time in the grow tent and growing well, and it will throw out these runners like crazy. And all these plants, by the way, love to hang or trail, so no worries there. And when I would pull other plants out, it would hit the ground, and then I would repot it. That happened 6 times? Yes, I'm sure 6 times. I'm sure it happened 6 times. And I always tried to be good about taking this plant out first. I'm sorry, I have to get a drink. The allergies here are insane, and I'm going to lose my voice. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I tried to be good about taking this out of the tent first and being very careful that it wasn't grabbing onto other plants, etc. and so forth. You may have seen a video one time where it was absolutely covered in flowers, and I brought it out of that tent into the air conditioning, and it spit every single one of those off. So not a plant that enjoyed that temperature change even for the, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes I had it out, which means probably half an hour to 45 minutes, being honest. So we're doing okay, right? We're doing okay. Then I brought it downstairs. I wanted to make it a permanent part, you know, get it out of the tent and enjoy it. And I'll just take I did something insanely stupid. And I had this kind of stand on top of a stand, and then I put this on top of that stand. I'm saying it wasn't stable. And I'm saying I bumped into the stand and dropped it from a good, you know, I'm 5'7", and it was probably right in here. So probably 5 feet high and straight downhill. Did not forgive me for months. And at one point this winter, this plant was looking, I cut those vines off eventually because they just died, but it was looking so shriveled through a lot of the plant. And sometimes when you have a vine that's dying or looks terrible, it makes the whole plant look like it's unhealthier than it is, and then kind of cleaning it up makes it look better. And one thing I'm really good about is, you know, cleaning up plants, but this one was just vine after vine after vine was going, and I just thought, you know, there's really no hope. It's a situation where you don't want to try to make things better by checking the roots and unpotting it. In that situation, I was very confident that what I had put in this 6-inch pot were healthy roots. It was just going through shock. And trying to help a plant that is going through shock can be the last nail in the coffin, right? Final nail in the coffin, or whatever the saying is. I'm too close to it to spend much time thinking about it. But it didn't look promising at all. Now, there are still a few wrinkled leaves here and there that when I watered, I kind of look for. But on the whole, it is looking really quite spectacular. And it is putting on a whole bunch of peduncles. They're budding up. This gives you at least an idea of the size. Obviously, those are just buds right now, but significantly smaller. This one, if you give it high enough light, when it sun stresses, and I must have a picture of it, so I'll include that, turns a deep, solid mahogany red, and it is gorgeous. So, in terms of beautiful foliage, sun-stressed, clear winter is Rebecca. For beauty, ease of growth, and availability, and you should not be paying much money for this plant. I paid $10 for mine. I paid $10 for that Rebecca too, as just a little strand, and grew it into that plant in no time flat. Sunrise, for sure Sunrise. I put the obscura away because it was getting heavy and I just didn't think I needed it anymore. But if you like green foliage best, I don't think you can top obscura because it goes to such a deep and beautiful green, and then it has just little highlights of gold. So quite spectacularly gorgeous. The leaves stay very, very close to each other. In other words, the internodal spacing is really tight, so you get a beautiful curtain effect with that one. It grows fast, it flowers often, big, smells great, lasts long. That is my favorite of the three if I could only have one. I sometimes think 3 is, like, do I need 3 of that similar plant? Well, I do, because I have somewhere to put it. If I had to get rid of one, Sunrise, and I would keep the Rebecca and Obscura because they're different enough, both in terms of the leaf structure and color, and veination, and flowers are very different. So that is the breakdown on that. If I could only keep one, obviously, we've narrowed it down to the Obscura. If I could only have one Hoya, if we were moving to a condo, Obscura. Out of my entire collection, out of all the Hoya you've seen over the last year, that would be my #1 pick. Now, keep in mind, if I had to narrow my collection down to just a few plants, and I could do it. If you said 20 plants, I would say 10 orchids, 5 Hoya, 5 other. And it wouldn't take me too long. Maybe I'll do a video on that, like how I would narrow that down to, that's not a bad idea. But I wouldn't be picking anything fussy. I wouldn't be picking anything that flowers only once a year, like my Hoya magnifica. It is a spectacular show that lasts less than 2 weeks. So I would want something spring, summer, fall is going to give me flowers because I love flowers. So Hoya obscura. For the win, as Memo at House Plenty Goodness says. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm curious, what would you pick out of these three? And do you have one Hoya that you know would be the it plant? I do want to hear from you. And then come join me in the next one again real soon, okay? Bye-bye.